guys, let's get to the unboxing here. Element bolt. So I do have the out front mount, which is good for integrated handlebars. Again, it was specifically designed for the Canyon, but again, I'm putting this on my Robo bike, and we're also going to look at the bolt. But just to know, the mounting screws that come with your bike, which also don't come with this mount, you're going to need to get longer ones if you want it to fit through the thick piece of plastic. It also comes with a locking screw, so if you go somewhere, you can actually take a little screw there and lock the GPS computer to your mount. Now the bolt itself, this is the bundle, so we're getting the cadence, speed, and the heart rate, which again we'll go over in more detail in the final review. But for $330, you're able to get a whole lot of training data and speed and GPS that comes with it. Again, you see there's multiple things that this can do. You can see it on the mount. You can see that it shows your altitudes. It could show you your maps, your speed. You can change the way in which the data is presented. If you have a power meter, you can also see that. There's LEDs. There's some physical buttons, power on the left. And let's see what else we got here. We got the actual computer here. Let's take that out and take a look. It's well packaged. It comes with everything you need to set up, the directions that are included as to how to physically install everything, how to set up the companion app. It's all pretty much there. So we see this, it's very simple. It feels solid in your hand, element bolt. We see in the blue at the bottom is where the physical charging port is. This comes with up and down arrows on the left and right. You got 3 physical buttons on the front, and then on the left side is your power on and your menu button. Get inside, what else? We got our first cadence sensor. You can either use 3M tape or you can use that included silicone. We also have our speed sensor. Just be careful installing that with the rubber. It can break if you stretch it too far. We're going to go over the installation later. This also does come with a mount adapter here that can go around your handlebars. I know specifically for mine, I'm not able to use it as I have a carbon frame and I don't want any clamping stuff. You can see it's simply lock and twist, and it stays on there great. It's not going to be vibrating, shaking around. Comes with the charger for it, which is just a basic micro USB. And that is also another adapter plate. You don't need to worry about that if you're just using the included mount. And finally, we get our heart rate sensor. It comes on a strap. It's adjustable. All of them have little cell batteries, so it's easy to replace. And then you get some of your zip ties if you want to, however you want to mount the items. And then the instruction manual, pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to go through the installation and setup on your app, but basically you just take a picture of the QR code and then you just go through the instructions it shows you. Fairly simple, elegant, and yeah, now let's get into the installation here coming up. Alright guys, let's get to the final review of the Wahoo Element Bolt and the sensor bundle that it comes with on Amazon. So the electrical engineer's overall score is a 4.05 out of 5. So let's quickly go through. I'm not going to go exactly over every setup detail, how to install everything. This is just more of a review of the unit itself. If anyone wants to check out how to exactly install, how to set up on your phone, how to load maps, all that good stuff, you can check it out in other videos. Or if you guys want me to, I can do a separate video on that. But let's get into it. Price-wise, I'd say it's very decently priced. It's $230 just for the actual computer, and then another $100 if you want the heart, RPM, and your speed sensor, which is really good. If you wanted to buy them on eBay, maybe save a couple bucks, that's not going to work out. Pricing is actually still very high, and there's not too many for sale. I know Wahoo, the computer was actually sold out at the time. So if you want to get it, I know it was in stock on Amazon. I put the link in the description, so if you want to go buy it, definitely go through there. But for $330 for the computer itself, with all the sensors, with GPS, with ANT Plus, with Bluetooth, with the app, all the accompaniment, it's definitely worth it for an entry-level price. Now, build quality, 4.6. I think it feels great. The buttons are solid. The sensors are working. They have simple batteries that you can replace the little cell batteries. Now, value, I'm going to give it a 4.35. I think you're getting all the information that you need to display on your bike. Your speed, cadence, heart rate. Again, power is definitely important to have, but you're going to have to throw a lot more money in for either a fancier crankset with an integrated power meter or any of those other companies out there that have their own. But those are, again, $500, $600, $700, depending on what you get. Now, to quickly go through the sensors, the heart rate monitor, I'd say it's the best sensor out of all of them. The strap's comfortable around your chest, and the accuracy of it, I was comparing it with my Apple Watch when I was wearing it at the same time, and they were within a couple heartbeats. So I think the accuracy is great for that heart rate sensor. Cadence sensor, I'd say it's slightly not as good. Again, you can, once you start pedaling a little bit, then you'll start to see that data start appearing on the front screen of the Wahoo, but it does take a couple spins for it to start to register. And finally, the speed sensor, I think it still works fine for what you're doing. If you're racing and preparing for training for a specific race or a fondo or something, it may be a little bit of an issue, but if you're just biking to know your speed, you're not staring at your computer confirming your constant speed, then this is definitely fine. But what I noticed is that the rate of transmission of the data from the sensor to the actual computer seems to be slightly delayed. I didn't count perfectly, but it's got to be around 2 to 3 seconds. And again, that could be a limitation in software, that could be a limitation in hardware, it could be the protocols of using ANT Plus. It could literally be just the hardware itself of the antenna on the chip itself on the sensor, or just the way in which it's processed on the computer on the GPS. So the only issue I really have with that is, let's say you're trying to do your sprint and you want to hit, let's say 30 miles per hour on a flat, and you're going 25. So you start pushing, you're exerting yourself real hard, and you look, and it's like 28. And you're like, I feel like I'm going super fast. My legs are killing me. I'm definitely going 30 right now. It's almost as if you have to sustain your speed longer than it takes for the updated data to appear in your GPS. So you could be almost braking on your bike, and then you'll see it hit the 30 a little bit delayed after that. So the delay's a little bit there, but it's not huge. The installation, it's fairly simple. I was able to install pretty quickly in the video. Just be a little careful with the rubber strap when you're putting the speed sensor on the free hub. It can snap if you pull it too hard. And you got to get your hands in there and make sure you don't bend any of the spokes or anything like that. But it's relatively simple to set up. And just for the RPM cadence, make sure you can spin your crank and that little sensor doesn't hit the chainstay as it goes by. You want no rubbing there, so just be aware of that. Now, the Wahoo app, I'm not going to go through again how to set everything up in the app. This is assuming you just go through the steps. The directions are very clear on it. The installation with the app and the integration, I'm going to say it's not very polished. The app is great. There's many things that it's able to do and display, but I think it does so much at one time that it gets a little complex. Like you'll click on, you want to see a specific set of data, or you want to see your route or the maps, or you want to just navigate through the settings that you want to send to your GPS computer. You almost feel like every button has a little bit of a lag before it actually transitions screens in the UI. Again, it's doing a lot of things. Maybe it's pulling data from multiple parts and calling multiple functions to integrate a bunch of things before it shows up on your screen. But again, it's not perfect. Two big issues that I noticed. When I first got it, I couldn't even get the maps to download onto my unit. No matter what I did, I restarted the app, restarted the computer, played a bunch of settings, tried to just reset everything, and I just couldn't download it, no matter what I did. I looked up online that you could just put it on Wi-Fi on 2.4 gigs, so don't make sure you're not putting it on your 5 gig part of your router if it does dual band, and that seemed to solve the issue. The second was not syncing my data. That was probably the biggest headache. Imagine going for a ride for 20 miles. You hit save on the computer, and then you look at your phone, it's connected, it says it's all synced up, but your ride's just not showing up on your computer or on your phone. And you're like, what's going on? I just did this whole ride, I want to upload it. So to solve that issue, again, it took a while, but in the end, I had to basically reset everything multiple times, go to factory default settings on the GPS, delete the app, uninstall it from my Bluetooth list on my iPhone, and basically restart the whole process again, where you take a picture with your phone of the QR code on the screen. And honestly, I think it took 2 or 3 full total resets, as if I just opened it from the box before all the functionality started working. After that, it's been perfectly fine. All the rides are working great, all the features, all the settings I set, the maps downloaded great. But that initial setup did take a little bit of time. So that's why I'm just knocking the app just a little bit here. Now, the ride experience is probably, for what you're paying, I think that's where the value really comes in. All you have to do is get on your bike, have your phone in your bag or whatever you're doing, make sure it's connected to the app, but then put it away. All you do is hit start on the computer itself. All your sensors will auto set up with it, and it'll start recording all your data. And then when you get it done with your ride, you just hit stop, boom, save. It's right on your phone. All your data's there, and you can just focus on your ride. There's nothing else you really have to do. Now, cool things that I just want to point out for cool factor: the ability to set what the LEDs do. You can see them in the sun. I know some people complain about that, but you can see everything when the backlight's on and when the LEDs are on. So seeing like your average heart rate, or if you're going faster or slower than your average speed, I think is fantastic to see. One of the best factors, though, is the ability to live track. So you can set, for emergency purposes or just to let people know if you're by yourself or if you're family, you put a list of emails you want people to know where you are. Once you hit start and you have the app open on your phone, it's going to auto email a link to a live real-time map of your location, and whoever you designate can then click on it within 24 hours and physically see where you are as you're riding. So it's definitely worthwhile to have. It's a great feature to have set up, and it can really benefit you just to make sure someone knows where you are at all times, just in case there's an accident or something like that. So overall, there's one other issue that I actually just thought of. After you record, there is settings for it to auto upload the data from your rides to Strava, to Apple Health, or what, there's so many third parties that you can connect. I noticed that sometimes, even though it's set to auto sync, it doesn't auto sync those items still. So for Strava, I know every time I finish my ride, I got to go to history, click on it, and then click upload to Strava, and then boom, it's done and it works. But it's just one extra little step that you have to do. But overall, the electrical engineer's recommendation is I'll take it. This is a solid entry-level GPS computer, and it has all the basic sensors and the data that you're going to need. If you're training to win the Tour de France, no, you're not going to need this. You need something a little bit better, a little bit more responsive, maybe higher quality build, faster sample rates of all your data. But if you're just biking to go around town, maybe to do a ride here or a group ride there, track your fitness, it's definitely great for that. And if there's anything else you guys want me to review, please let me know in the comments, or if there is any experiences that you've had with this or any tips or tricks that you thought of, please comment down below. And make sure to subscribe, guys. I think only 2% of the people that watch my videos are subscribed. I know I'm a new channel, but hopefully you're able to take some good value away from these videos and able to learn some things, whether it's about the product or the software or hardware that's working behind the scenes. So any questions, please let me know, guys, and it's been a real pleasure. Take care.